The Apple Watch. The Apple Watch was hyped up for years preceding the announcement in Cupertino last year. I was looking forward to it. I was excited for what Apple was going to show us and just see what they've been working on for the past few years or longer. And even when they showed us the Apple Watch, they showed us the features, the software. I was impressed for the most part. But now that my Apple Watch Sport has arrived and I've been testing it and using it on a daily basis for the past couple of weeks, I'm just not that impressed, as it has several fundamental flaws that just can't be overlooked. So these are 10 plus reasons why you should save your money and you should not buy the Apple Watch. Many of the flaws appear in the software, as the hardware as a whole is pretty simple. It's constructed with premium materials and it doesn't look all that bad in my opinion. But the software is the real issue here, as it makes me want to give up every time I try and use this device. First of all, the icons for the Apple Watch are very small. I mean, you can zoom in to a certain degree using the digital crown, but when you're on the go, when you're driving or biking or hiking, you have to use precision to locate the app you actually want to open. It's really not as easy as it seems to open up just a simple app, especially when you're on the move. It just isn't. And the apps themselves are very slow. They all take a considerable amount of time to open up, as the app has to communicate with your iPhone and then back to the watch. I might as well just take my phone out of my pocket. I'll probably save more time. I also have an issue with just how the software is set up and designed. I hate how Siri is an afterthought and isn't built around the device like Google Now is built around Android Wear. It just makes sense, at least to me, for a wearable device to be built around voice search, and the Apple Watch just appears to almost completely forget about this fundamental aspect. I say almost because Siri is here, but you will need to hold down the digital crown and wait a second until she actually appears and starts to take your command. Once she does appear, you can start to give basic commands, but nothing too complex, because Siri just isn't that complex anymore. She's nowhere near as good as she once was or thought to be. She really just needs to be updated. She's definitely not as good as Google Now or even Cortana in some aspects. And no matter what, you will need to use both of your hands to activate the voice functionality, which is something you just don't want to have to do, especially when you're on the go. I mean, that's the key time you're going to actually want to use your smartwatch, and you're going to want to use voice functionality when you're on the move. So when you get voice functionality activated, Siri just kind of lets you down. She's slow, she's outdated, she's basically useless. So you might as well once again just pull out your smartphone from your pocket. On top of that, gesture support is very limited with the Apple Watch. I mean, that's the second most important thing about a wearable behind voice functionality in my opinion. The only real gesture on the Apple Watch is the wrist raise gesture, which shows you the time when you raise your wrist. If you want to interact with anything, you will once again need to use your other hand. The software is also very unintuitive as a whole. There's just way too much going on. You have notifications that swipe down from the top, quick settings that slide up from the bottom, which Apple calls glances. On the watch face itself, you can tap on various shortcuts to open certain things up, and you can press the digital crown to get access to apps. You hold it down for Siri, you double press the digital crown to go to the previous app you were once at. You press the power button to pull up a list of your top friends, you double tap it to open up Apple Pay, and then you can hold it down to turn your Apple Watch off, lock the Apple Watch, or activate power reserve. There's just way too much going on. It's incredibly unintuitive. After wearing this watch for a couple weeks straight, I still don't feel like I have a complete grasp of it. And it hides the voice functionality, which I value the most in a smartwatch. I haven't even mentioned Force Touch yet, which works with certain apps. You really have no idea if it works with certain apps because, well, you can't see any of the settings associated with Force Touch. You have to guess whether or not Force Touch is implemented, and it can be very frustrating because what it does is it shows you an additional range of settings or options that are otherwise invisible. So it's very confusing and it's very hard to gauge. The other thing I hate about the Apple Watch, with all things considered, is that it's way too expensive. The base model costs $349, which gets you an Apple Watch Sport in a 38mm configuration, which is way too small for the majority of people's wrists. I have pathetically small wrists, and the larger 42mm band is still almost too small. And yes, of course, you will need to pay an additional $50 for the larger version. And if you want any special straps like leather or metal straps, then the price will just continue to skyrocket from there, depending on which strap you like best and if you want the stainless steel model. This is certainly not one of the cheaper Apple products, that's for sure. Overall, I'm very disappointed with the Apple Watch. I know this is a first generation device and it's going to get better in due time, but I think, in my opinion, the only way for it to get better is if they improve the software and actually completely scrap the software and rebuild it around Siri. I mean, yes, smartwatches are new, and I don't think any company has come close to mastering the smartwatch, but I especially think that Apple is going in the wrong direction with the Apple Watch. I think Apple, more so than anyone else, has the potential to make a killer smartwatch, but right now it's just not there. I mean, they have the hardware down. I mean, the hardware is not bad, but the software just needs some improvements. And I think over time, we will see some improvements that are much needed and will greatly, greatly improve the experience of the Apple Watch. But right now, it's just not there. So these are my thoughts and my opinions of the Apple Watch and why you should not buy one and you should save your money, because this is a first generation device and it's not worth $400, let alone any more. So just save your money. These are my thoughts and opinions, but let me know what you think of the Apple Watch, why you like it, why you don't like it. Let me know down below in the comments. I'll be reading each and every comment, and I want to get the conversation started, so let me know what your thoughts are. But with that said, as always, I'm Beau HD from PhoneDog.com. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. See ya. Reason number 1, it's not Android. Duh. Nah, I'm just kidding.